This beyond its structure a meaning to convey, and that meaning is not absurd. Parallelism, I think almost every GMAT test taker is introduced to, even in the the official guide in terms of its repetition. Now this is something that you would see in a lot of sentences in the sentence correction. Unparalleled ideas. Now look at this sentence. The company announced that its profits declined much less in the second quarter than analysts had expected, and its business would improve in the second half of the year. There are two announcements that the company makes. One is that its profits declined much less, and it should be that its business would improve. Now when you are beginning one of those constructions with a relative pronoun that, the company announced that and that, the relative pronoun that should be repeated. So the correct construction would be than analysts had expected and that. That means the company announced that its business would improve in the second half of the year. Okay, now verb tense is sometimes problematic for a lot of people. Now inconsistent verb tense should be understood a little more. Consistency in verb tense does not mean that every verb in a given sentence should be in the same grammatical form. It's not possible to express sentence that way. There are sentences where all the verbs can be in the present tense, all the verbs in the past tense, according to the time of action. Now it is possible for you to see sentences where you have both the past and the present, or the present and the future. Now in the sentence, today because of improvements in agricultural technology, the same amount of acreage produces twice as many apples as it has in 1910. It's very obvious it has the present perfect doesn't match with the past in 1910. So we need to have a verb which meant the same amount of acreage produces twice as many apples as it did. That means it produced in 1910. We don't have to write apples as it produced. You can just replace it by did, and it just simply serves the purpose. So in 1910 is in the past, so we need a past tense verb did and not has the present perfect. Awkward constructions mean the word groups, the thought units, are wrongly placed. Published in Harlem, the owner and editor of the Messenger. Now this sentence appears to be that what is published in Harlem is the owner and editor. Now isn't that a very wrong construction? It is. Now what is published in Harlem should follow that modifier. It is the Messenger, right? So published in Harlem, the Messenger was owned and edited by two journalists, Raldoph, who would later make his reputation as a labor leader, and Owen. The given sentence says two young journalists, Owen and Raldoph, who would later make his reputation as a labor leader. It is misleading and unclear as to who we are referring to. You could refer to Owen or Raldoph, but you have to be very clear who. By pushing the phrase who would later make his reputation as a labor leader along with just one name, Raldoph, that ambiguity is released and the awkwardness disappears. The sentence becomes more clear, the arrangement is much more effective. A wrong use of words, that is faulty diction, the way it is explained in the official guide. We can use words in different contexts and bring about effectiveness accordingly. Now look at this sentence. The technical term pagination is a process that leaves editors instead of printers assemble the page images that bring the metal or plastic plates used in printing. Now the term is a process is wrong. That leaves editors, does it leave editors? The sentence means that it allows them or helps them. I think the word leaves can also be replaced. Instead of, look, we don't see the phrase instead of as wrong. But are we using here editors instead of printers? I think the correction here The term refers to a process because pagination is a process. So the term refers to a process that allows editors rather than printers to assemble the page images that become the material thing used in printing, make a little more effective use of vocabulary. Look out for words that can be problematic because the term cannot be the process. Pagination is the process. Wordiness, too many words and not concise. This is a very commonly used thing, verbosity, wordiness, etc. Now one thing, let me also make it clear to you, is that never go by the mindset and the feeling that the shortest of the options is the correct answer. Wordiness definitely is a problem, but I would suggest that if a concise option out of the 5 lead to ambiguity, then it's better to be a little more, generous on the words. So prefer wordiness or generosity of words over ambiguity caused by cutting down words economically. Cut down the words you should. Look at this sentence. By a vote of 9-0, the Supreme Court awarded the CA broad discretionary powers that enable them to withhold from public disclosure the identities of its sources sources of intelligent information. Pardon me for that a spelling mistake. It should be source of intelligence information. Now here we have a pronoun them, and that enables them to withhold from public disclosure. It is simply wording. Now we are meaning here from the public. Now look out for these absurdities. Public used as an adjective. Public life, public scrutiny, public becomes an adjective. Now we are here meaning to withhold from the public, the people, the society. So enabling it, that is the CIA, to withhold from the public the identities makes it crispy, clear and grammatically perfect. Omission. Now this is one word you may have encountered in the explanation part of the GMAT official guide. A necessary word or phrase is omitted. At times a repetition of a word is necessary, and that doesn't amount to redundancy, that is unwanted repetition. Look at this sentence. In mammals, a lifetime supply of egg cells is produced during fetal development and remain dormant until maturity. Now what remains dormant is ambiguous. Is it development or egg cells? Since the meaning of the sentence says until maturity, you must be referring to egg cells. So then it's better that we repeat the word egg cells, or you can simply refer to it as these cells. Omission of that word, these cells, would lead to ambiguity. It is important that we ensure that sentence has absolutely no ambiguity and awkwardness, and thus making the sentence more clear and direct. Okay, thank you for bearing with me this long. I mean, I think it's a bit the wordy presentation. You must be thinking of that, right? Okay, now I have a lot more to share with you, and I shall do all that in my part 2 presentation. Look forward to that small presentation in the near future. Thank you very much, and happy preparation for the GMAT.